In this video, we're going to be showing you the top 3 neighborhoods in Durango, Colorado. Now I'm going to tell you how I chose those. So the first way that I chose those is I really looked at the majority of neighborhoods and areas that my clients really wanted to live in. Really the top few that were on the top of their wish list. The second way is honestly some of the neighborhoods I like the most. As you've seen, if you've watched my YouTube channel before, I absolutely love neighborhoods or access to trails, being close to trails for mountain biking, hiking, and running. And I absolutely love to fly fish. So I really love access to river or ponds like this or lakes like this behind me. So let's jump into it. So the first neighborhood, and one of my absolute favorite neighborhoods out of all the neighborhoods in Durango, Colorado, and honestly the entire county of La Plata County, is Falls Creek Ranch. So we're here in Falls Creek Ranch, and I'm gonna definitely tell you the pros, the reasons my clients and I love it, but I'll make sure to tell you the cons and some of the reasons my clients, even most recently, chose to not buy in this neighborhood. So let's start with the pros. The first reason that I absolutely love it is you don't just have a pond here, you have a really nice lake. Really good sized lake, as you can see behind me and with the footage we're showing you. Really beautiful lake with the forest surrounding you, really pretty views all around you, and they have some really nice amenities. So I'll start with the winter. In the winter, they actually let you ice skate on this lake, which is really cool. A lot of HOAs don't let you do that, and I really love that they do. Then you've also got a nice little floating dock out there, and you have several sandy beaches with some nice chairs as well. Right here behind me is a little hockey setup as well for the winter. And so between hockey, fishing, paddleboarding, kayaking, you can do just about whatever you want on this lake. I love that they stock it. The HOA stocks this lake with trout. You know, take out your pontoon boat, you just can't have any motorized boats on the lake. This lake is located right as you're getting into the neighborhood as you pass the gate. By the way, guys, my name is John Bird and I'm a licensed realtor here in Durango and Southwest Colorado. And if you've been thinking about moving to Durango or Southwest Colorado, give me a call, text or email, days, nights, weekends. Would love to hop on a Zoom call with you, go over your criteria, go over what you're looking for, really dial you in to specific areas that maybe you're not aware of, and also more than happy to do some property tours for you. I just did one the other day and I'm doing one tomorrow for a client to really give them a good understanding of the area, of the topography of the land, of what the views are really like, how close it is to other homes, just all kinds of things that you really can't see from just looking online. I'm also going to give them a feel of what the neighborhood is like, what the drive is to the home, and much, much more. So more than happy to do that for you guys as well. Let's dive back into the video. Now in this neighborhood, something that's really different than many other neighborhoods is you have 940 acres in this entire neighborhood. 100 of those acres are 1 acre circular lots. So you really have 840 acres of community space where you have trails going through it for mountain biking, hiking, walking, and running on these beautiful trails. These trails are also great for cross-country skiing or snowshoeing in the winter as well. All right, let's briefly talk about some of the rules for the lake. So there is this nice little beach right here behind me. No RC boats, drones, weapons. Dogs are not allowed on Sunny Beach. Dogs must be under owner's control. No motors allowed except for maintenance or emergencies. Do not use private watercrafts without express consent of owners. Then no spearfishing, treble hook, barbed hooked, or bait. Children under 12 may use bait. Now what I love about this is you can see behind me, they have this nice little beach here. They've got a spot to put your paddle boards. They've got really nice little sandy area here, some nice chairs, some nice tables. They've got an area over there for kayaks as well. And just a really pretty setting with some nice views of Missionary Ridge on the other side of the trees right here as well. And great access, it's right as you're getting into the neighborhood, like I mentioned earlier. Now let's talk a little bit more about these lots. A lot of these lots, or a good handful of these lots, I should say, are not perfectly flat. As you know, you're here in the mountains, you're at higher elevation than In-Town Durango. You are a little bit over 20 minutes to kind of the middle of the subdivision from Buckley Park. So I'm kind of using a reference point that's really the beginning of downtown Durango. So really from downtown Durango to the neighborhood, really to the gate, you're closer to 16, 17 minutes, but to the middle of the subdivision, you're a little bit over 20 minutes or approximately 20 minutes. So talking about the cons, that really is one con or one reason that some of my clients have kind of really loved this neighborhood, but not actually pulled the trigger on buying a house in this neighborhood just because of the distance to downtown Durango. They felt like it was a little bit more of a drive, then adding in the snow, being at higher elevation, they felt like it could just take a little bit longer in the winter as well. Now, I do think it's totally a personal preference thing. It's worth coming out here, taking a look at the road, driving it, getting a feel for it yourself. Another comment I've had from a lot of clients is, hey, it's a really, really pretty drive and we don't really mind it. So definitely just a personal preference thing regarding the commute. Now going back to the grade of these lots, some are fairly flat, some aren't, and some have absolutely stunning, phenomenal views of the Animas Valley. Some, just a little part of this neighborhood reaches right out to the edge of those cliffs that look over the Animas Valley. Now it is very tough to hike down. I don't really think you can hike down because of private property, but it is a really, really pretty view from there. And there aren't many views that get much better than the homes in this neighborhood. Granted, that's only maybe 10 homes or so that have those views. So out of 100, you're maybe talking 5 to 10% that really have those breathtaking views. Granted, there are still some very phenomenal views in here. I would just say there's a good portion of these homes that are fairly forested as well, where you have a lot of pine trees around the home and don't get much of a view. So it just varies based on the home. There's some homes on the market right now. There was actually one that I showed a couple weeks ago that didn't necessarily have very big mountain views, but they had some of these nice red rock cliff views behind it, and it had a fairly nice flat lot where you could trim some trees down and you don't feel like you're not getting very much sun. With that in mind, that's something I always like to bring up to my clients when we're talking about neighborhoods, is how important is getting a lot of sunlight in your house, in your windows, and just making them understand, showing them that a handful of these homes, again, not all of them, it just depends, but some of these homes have so much forest around them that they're not getting as much sun in the home. Now going back to access to trails. Now, although there aren't great trails that get you into the Animas Valley right from this neighborhood, if you go right out of the gate, there are some great trails that you can get down into the Animas Valley from just outside of the gate of this neighborhood. So there's a trail called Church Camp Trail. That's a 3.3 mile trail, 368 feet incline, 282 feet down. So overall, it's a fairly flat trail. Then you've got Mid Meadow and South Meadow, both about 1 mile. Those are both greens. So great to bring your kids on if you have kids. Great to just walk or hike and just chill and not be worried about a lot of steep elevation climb. And again, those are right outside of the gate of Falls Creek Ranch, and they connect to some other trails that can take you all the way down to the Animas Valley. So if you wanted to just get in a longer hike, just kind of explore and adventure and really see those stunning views of the Animas Valley, you have some great access to trails, along with all of the trails that are here in the subdivision throughout all of that 840 acres of open space in the neighborhood. Now, some other amazing amenities to this neighborhood is they have tennis courts. They also have equestrian facilities, horse stables where you could put a horse or two. Now, keep in mind, sometimes there is a waiting list. I've shown homes in the neighborhood in the past where there was a waiting list of several people at least. And then recently, when I've shown homes here, there was no waiting list. So it just depends regarding horses. You cannot keep horses at your property, at your residence here. So you would have to have them stabled there at the equestrian facilities here. Then some other really cool benefits is it's central water. So you would have septic, but you've got that central water. So it's really nice to not have to worry about wells. Whereas in most other parts of the county, to have an acre lot, for the most part, you're not going to be on central water. So again, really unique subdivision in many different ways. Then I also forgot to mention that the access to the Colorado Trail is about 5 minutes away or so. We'll put that up on the screen there. Now let's talk a little bit more specifics about the neighborhood. So the highest home sold in here is about 2.3 million. Home sizes really range from about 1278 to 6330 square feet. And all of the lots are approximately 1 acre. They're circular lots, and there is a limitation on how much fencing you can have. So it's very tricky to see where your lot line is because it's a circular lot. So we can easily look at that online. I have a good app that I can show you when you're here to look in person, or I can send that to you. So again, this is why you guys got to reach out to me. Just shoot me a text, email, or call, and I'm happy to discuss more specifics. Like I mentioned in the past, I'm a licensed realtor here in Durango in Southwest Colorado, so happy to help you with all of your real estate needs, as well as showing you properties here, giving you video tours of any properties in this neighborhood or any other. Like I mentioned earlier, we'll just go through the utilities again. Community well. So each home is not on its own well. It's community water, septic, propane, and then La Plata electric. HOA is covering snow removal, fishing rights, those stables, the tennis courts, the trails, and the roads. The roads are gravel. They are not paved, but it is paved up to the neighborhood. Then you have some really nice mountain views, but it does just depend on where the home is located. Like I mentioned, you can't have horses at the property. You would have to have those at the stables, and you do want to check on if there is a waiting list for that. Talking about distance to town, like I mentioned, you're right around 20 minutes to downtown Durango, using Buckley Park as a reference point and using a home that is kind of in the middle of the subdivision. The subdivision does climb in elevation a little bit as you continue up into the subdivision. You will get more snow as you continue higher in the subdivision. Then I mentioned that there are some really nice flat usable trails right as you get outside of the subdivision that can get you all the way down to the Animas Valley. About 5-6 miles worth of trails right out there that are pretty flat. You're about 22 minutes to the Animas River. And of course, you've got this private lake right here behind me. And then just to kind of summarize again, you've got access to quite a bit of outdoor amenities here compared to many other neighborhoods. You don't have river access, but you are close to the Colorado Trail. And again, about 20-ish minutes to the Animas River. So I really love this neighborhood. And again, some of those cons, some of those reasons my clients haven't chosen living here was just the distance to town. They want to be a little bit closer to downtown Durango. Some of my clients had kids in sports, in school, and they just didn't want to do that trip as often. But I think it's really worth looking at. I really think even if you're a little bit leery about the distance to downtown, it's worth at least checking out the neighborhood, driving through here when you're in town, or hopping a call and just talking to me about this neighborhood. I personally love it because you've got the combination of the pond, or the lake really, all the things that they let you do on this lake compared to some other neighborhoods. You've got the access to the trails. You've got some homes with the most breathtaking views in all of Durango, in my opinion, as well. Now from here, I was really debating where I wanted to take you guys next, but I think where I want to take you next is to In-Town Durango, show you some of the areas that are in-town Durango and what's really special about it before we go over there and really dive into the specifics of specific neighborhoods, just to kind of encompass the whole area. What I personally love about it is it's just a different culture, a different environment there, because you're biking to the grocery store, you're biking to work or to the library or to the park, and you can just use that Animas River Trail to get just about anywhere. And so we'll head over there now, and we're actually going to head over to the West Avenues, part of really west of Main Street. And I'm gonna kind of lean to that area, talk more about that area today, because I personally like that area a little bit more than going right downtown where you're within walking distance of downtown. Personally, just because you get a little bit bigger lots, you get more garages over there, a little bit less crammed in. And so I personally like that, but I have a lot of clients that love being right downtown as well. So we'll talk about that a little bit, but just wanna kind of show you where I'm leaning in this video. We'll have a lot more videos in the future where we talk about every little piece of In-Town Durango rather. But today we're gonna head over to the West Avenues, show you that part of In-Town Durango that's still very close to biking distance from downtown Durango, as well as really close to some phenomenal biking and hiking trails. Let's head over there now. This is really just west of downtown Durango and west of the Animas River, as well as west of Highway 550, which kind of splits up downtown, the downtown area, and this area, the West Avenues. So what's very different about this than most subdivisions you're going to see in a lot of my videos is no HOA, no covenants. As you can see, you're allowed to have fences, but it's a really pretty, well-kept area, even though there's no HOA. I've got a lot of clients that really want an HOA because they kind of make sure that the area is well-kept. There's not, cars in the grass in the front lawn. But this subdivision, this area is just really well kept, a beautiful area. There's sidewalks throughout, and a really best kept secret, if you will, is it backs up to the Ned Overend Bike Park. You can't quite see behind me. I'll show you some drone footage, but bike park, bike area right behind me. And the trails are awesome up there. They are somewhat technical, somewhat difficult. They climb pretty quickly. So it's not like these are black diamonds by any means. Really good extensive trail system. They also go all the way up to Hogsback, where there is a double black diamond up there. So if you're really advanced, you know what you're doing. There's some great, really challenging biking back there as well. But if you talk about, hey, what's an area where I can really walk, really go for a 3-mile walk, you know, this is it, because it also connects right onto the Animas River Trail here. And so, yes, it's not a kind of enclosed subdivision in the sense of there is a double yellow line here, but there are sidewalks here as well. So there are a lot of subdivisions that don't have sidewalks, and this definitely has sidewalks. You're basically in town Durango. So 2 minutes to downtown Durango to be at the shops, at the restaurants here. And a few specifics on this. So the highest home sold in this area was 1.2 million. Then home sizes 906 to 3372. Lot sizes 0.17 to just about half an acre at 0.4 of an acre. City water, city sewer, Atmos Energy, La Plata Electric, so all on city here. And what's great is you do get some yards here. You're allowed to have fences. A lot of things that you might be frustrated with in some of these HOAs, you don't have to deal with here. Now you're in town, no covenants, no HOAs, so you can have chickens. Obviously you can't have things like horses because smaller lot sizes just wouldn't really make sense. Negatives of this area, you don't have an HOA. So again, like I said, a lot of my clients really want that HOA, really want to know that their neighbors aren't going to be doing anything crazy, anything that's going to be really disturbing, etc. They want to know that their neighbors are going to be taking care of their yard, that kind of thing. So that could be a con for some people. And then the traffic noise, you are going to hear some traffic from here, but it just depends on where the house is. You know, like I said, this is really a neighborhood, so you're not going to get a lot of traffic coming through here, but there will be a little bit. And then you are going to have the train noise that's going to be pretty close by as well. Just discussing this with a client of mine, he's like, I love the sound of the train. You know, it's not a disturbance. It's not like a train that you're going to hear in another random train. This train has kind of that particular sound, and everybody really enjoys the train for the most part. And you're not going to hear it early in the morning or late at night either. Now, distance to things, Durango High School, approximately 4 minutes. Again, this is a really big area, so just depending on where the house is located, of course, it could be 1 minute to 7 minutes, just depending on where the house is at in this area. City Market, approximately 3 minutes. Again, it's really, really close. La Plata Airport, approximately 20 minutes from here, 20 to 25, just depending on where the home is. And then again, the Animas River Trail, really just about a stone's throw, depending on where the house is in this area. But the Animas River Trail is just right there. Downtown is just right across the street, right across the highway. There are plenty of places to cross the street. There are several businesses on this side of the street too. So I just love it that you've got that, you know, you've got this sidewalk here behind me, and then you've also got the bike trail system right behind me as well. I recommend looking on MTB Project. You can actually look at the difficulty of those trails, look at photos of the trails, that kind of thing, really get a feel for what the trails are like there. Or alltrails.com, they have an app as well. Definitely check that out. Then a few other trail systems, Horse Gulch trail systems, kind of on the other side of downtown Durango. That's definitely one of my favorites. Then Animas Mountain, basically bordering on this subdivision, this area of the West Avenues. Animas Mountain, great biking, great hiking. That's one of my wife's favorite hiking trail systems as well. Really cool views from there as well. All right, then closest fishing, you're gonna be, again, like 2 minutes from the Animas River. Great fishing. As always, I recommend talking to Duranglers or San Juan anglers. You haven't gone fishing, take them out as a ask what their schedule looks like for taking out a guide and being able to fish the Animas River. That way you can really get familiar with it as well. Definitely recommend fishing the San Juan River as well. They're down south of us, just across the border. They are incredible. Then you're about 15 minutes to Lake Nighthorse. Really great fishing there, but they've got a beach. They've got an awesome area that you can swim. They've got buoys. You can swim about a mile out as far as how far out those buoys go. They've got a no wake time in the morning. so you're not getting tossed around by the boats. They've got lifeguards, like I mentioned, a beach. They've got a really cool kind of inflatable play area out there that they set up in the summer. So again, only 15 minutes away from this area. And everyone wants to know how close you are to skiing. So you're about 30 minutes from Purgatory Ski Resort right in this area. So basically right from In-Town Durango, about 30 minutes. And then a few other ski resorts. You've got Telluride, which is about 2 hours away from us right here in downtown Durango as well. Now the next area I want to tell you about is County Road 250 in the Animas Valley north of downtown Durango. Now this area spans from about 9 minutes north of downtown Durango all the way up to 18 minutes north of downtown Durango at this spot where we're at right now, which is at Baker's Bridge, which is again about 18 minutes away from downtown Durango. So this entire area is within 20 minutes driving distance of downtown, and it's really flat, really usable land for the most part, except for the opposite side of County Road 250, the east side of County Road 250. So that side does get much steeper, but for the most part where the homes sit, it's still fairly flat land for about an acre or two depending on the lot. Now most of the lots on County Road 250 range from about 5 to 10 acres, most of them being a little bit closer to 5 acres, with some going from 20 to 50 acres. However, most of these are also pretty flat and usable land with some really, really nice views with the ridges on both sides of you. So you've got Missionary Ridge on the east side, the Red Crimson Cliffs on the west side. And so you don't get those really beautiful sunsets that you're going to get south of town or in many other areas of Durango. But it is one con of this area, but there are so many other pros that really outweigh that one con. Now keep in mind, compared to some other areas, while we're talking about the area and that lack of sun or lack of sky, compared to some other areas like going east of town towards Lemon Reservoir, Vallecito Reservoir, going out towards Edgemont, that area, in my opinion, that area is much more kind of tucked in, much less sky than you're going to get in the Animas Valley. So you still are going to get much more sun in the Animas Valley. You just still do have those ridges on either side of you. Now, I was out looking at a property just the other day that is closer to that 30-acre range, and I was looking at the views, I was looking at just all the things this property has to offer, and we're going to tell you some of those things. So first of all, a lot of these homes, the majority of these homes do have irrigation rights. They have some really amazing water rights, and a lot of these homes do back up and have access to the Animas River. So with that in mind, if you like paddleboarding, you can put in your paddleboard from a lot of these properties, take it down to Dalton Ranch, either take out at Dalton Ranch or do the really long paddleboard ride and take out at Oxbow, which is a much longer ride. So to Dalton Ranch, you're looking at between 30 minutes to maybe a little bit over an hour of a paddleboard ride. Most of this section is kind of a lazy river section or fairly slow moving water. So you don't have to be concerned about really having great skills in the water. Obviously you want to know how to swim, but it's not really scary water for the most part. Then going back to how I mentioned it, that this area is very, very coveted. I recently had a client who bought a property on County Road 250, actually on the east side of County Road 250, and him, just like some of my other clients, absolutely insisted on being on County Road 250. It was very important for him to, one, be in the Animas Valley, but two, be on County Road 250, and we're going to tell you some of those reasons. All right, so the first reason he really wanted to be there was the location. Again, he's only about 15 minutes from downtown Durango. Second reason was the usable land. But beyond that was he was very, very close. He actually backs up to an amazing hiking trail. So there's Stevens Creek and Halfland Creek, two different trails that are pretty close to each other right off of County Road 250 that climb up Missionary Ridge. We'll actually put on the screen some information about those trails, and we'll show you some footage of those trails. I absolutely love running and hiking those trails. My wife, my kids love running and hiking those trails as well. And within about 5 to 10 minutes of hiking those trails, you have beautiful views of the Animas Valley, looking down at the river, looking over at those Crimson Cliffs as well. Even in the winter, I love going and snowshoeing those trails. So to continue talking about trails, you've got access to those two amazing trails. Then across the valley, you've got some other trails that climb up and look over the valley as well. Then beyond that, going up County Road 201, that road, after driving for about 3 miles, about 15 minutes, leads to a campground, as well as Jones Creek and Hermosa Creek Trail. Those trails, at least Hermosa Creek Trail, goes for about 35 plus miles, connects all the way over to Purgatory Ski Resort, and that trail is a nice intermediate, fun, flowy mountain bike or hiking trail. and a ton of national forest that has access to as well. So some great access to trails. Then the other reason that my client really wanted to live on County Road 250 was he absolutely loves to ski. And so he's got great access to Purgatory Ski Resort. We'll put on the screen right now the access or the distance from Baker's Bridge, the northern point, all the way up to Purgatory Ski Resort, or the distance from there to Purgatory. Because you're really in that range, kind of in that 20-minute bubble of Purgatory, depending on where you live off of County Road 250 or in the Animas Valley. So as you're watching this, and if you realize prices aren't something that you don't really like the prices in here, you want to be in a lower price point, all of this information, a lot of this information is really going to help you understand more just about living in the Animas Valley in general, as you will find lower price points once you get on the other side of the valley on County Road 203, as well as some of the other small neighborhoods off of Highway 550 and County Road 203. Now, the other benefit of County Road 250 that I really enjoy is this road is relatively flat with some rolling hills, and I absolutely love road running as well as road biking. I love running quite a bit more, but I love using this road for running and biking. And if you like road biking or running, this is just a great road in general because it's got that nice modulating rolling hills throughout it, and just a really pretty scenic ride as well. You'll see almost every day, you'll see groups of 20, 30 road bikers on this road. You'll see people running it. You'll see people on the trails that connect to it as well, like Stevens Creek and Halfling Creek as well. So you just see a lot of people that are really fit living near or on this road, or just using this road as well. Now, the other really unique benefit of living in the Animas Valley, especially off of County Road 250, is kind of the combination of having trees and also having flat, usable land with views. So that combination, I was just out showing homes to a client yesterday, and I was telling them that that combination is really tough to come by. And I think that's a reason that County Road 250, especially even out of any area in the Animas Valley, is very unique and very coveted. One of the properties I was looking at that I was just referring to is really fairly flat, or very flat, and has some trees, but great views from the home. And then as you go out back, if you go closer to the river, there's more trees, more pine trees like you see around me right where I'm at here. You just get a lot more pine trees closer to the river. So it had that kind of nice combination of being in the forest and being more open with views, which is just really hard to come by because usually, let's take, for example, Edgemont Highlands, Edgemont Ranch. A lot of these homes are just tucked in the trees, really nice, forested, beautiful lots, but rarely have really nice mountain views because they just don't have those views over there. And so a lot of that east area of Durango, as well as several parts of the west area of Durango, is very similar because there's kind of these valleys that these homes are kind of tucked into, whereas the Animas Valley, it is a valley, but it's much more open, and so you have those cliffs on either side of you that you have those views of. And although there are some pine trees, most of these homes still are either setting in the pine trees with those views, or they're not tucked into those pine trees and they just have really pretty views with some maybe cottonwoods or other trees around them. So really want to highlight that uniqueness of this area compared to a lot of other areas. So if you guys want to find an area that has access to the Animas River, is within 9 to 18 minutes of downtown Durango, and still within about 20 minutes of Purgatory Ski Resort, and many amazing trails and national forest access, as well as some amazing lakes like Lake Haviland, Electra Lake, and some great restaurants up near Purgatory Ski Resort, then I think this area is really worth putting high on your list. You've got irrigation rights throughout County Road 250. You've got a fairly flat road. You don't have any very steep driveways, although there are a few off to the east side, but very, very few. And then you've got areas like Celadon right off of County Road 250 in the northern part of County Road 250, which is right up the road from me. Celadon is really unique because it's a gated subdivision. They have 30+ acre lots with most homes right on the river, or if they're not on the river, they're overlooking the river, or they have a private pond. A lot of these homes are up a little bit higher elevation and looking out over the Animas Valley with some of the most breathtaking views. We have several other subdivisions just like that or similar to that with bigger acreage lots looking over the Animas Valley. but you do have a little bit steeper drive, steeper road to get up to those homes. So if that's not for you, then being right down on County Road 250 is going to be more ideal. You've got irrigation rights, like I mentioned, flat, usable land with those views, with trees, and you have access to the river and still close to town, just to summarize some of those features of County Road 250. I think a lot of the homes in this area can be a little bit dated, and some of them are absolutely stunning, brand new, large, luxury homes as well. So it really just depends on what's on the market, what we're looking at, and what's available. Guys, if you've been thinking about moving to Durango, give me a call, text, or email. Love to help you with all of your real estate needs and make it an extremely smooth and informative process. Looking forward to connecting with you. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks.